Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Susan Fontano, Chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals of the City of Somerville. I'd like to welcome you to the meeting of Wednesday, November the 15th, 2023. It is 6:05. Tonight, pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting of the Somerville Zoning Board of Appeals will be conducted via remote participation. A recording of these proceedings can be accessed at any time using the registration link at the top of the agenda. Present this evening on the board is Catherine Garavaglia. She is our clerk. Ann Brockelman, she is our co-chair. Ann Fullerton, Cecia Daglian, and Brian Cook. And from our planning staff department, we have Andrew Graminsky joining us. First on the agenda tonight under general business is meeting approval. And I'd like Catherine Garavaglia to take care of that, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve our minutes from November 1st, 2023.
Before we second that, I have a comment. I thought, unless I'm mistaken, that we ended up, the record show 5 for and 0 opposed. I thought we had 4 and 1 on that. Everybody here tonight, did you all approve? That was the, I thought Cecia, you said no.
That's correct.
Oh, okay, well, speak up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct, but it does say that, I think, in the notes.
But the numbers on the top
Oh, the
say
numbers don't
5
add up.
0. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm working with just one screen tonight.
Let me
Does anybody
see.
have it? Do you see it right in front of you? It says 5 to 0.
Chair, 5-0 to approve the previous minutes.
Oh,
Oh.
in the
And what about now on the case?
But the vote is on the second page.
yeah,
Oh, okay, thank you. I stand corrected. I just want to make sure, that's all.
okay.
And I don't have it in front of me now for various reasons. Okay, so then we need a second. Brian, you're muted.
Say,
You
Sorry.
second it?
I did, but I
Seconded by-
I do want to raise another issue.
Go ahead.
Shouldn't the minutes reflect the motion to adjourn and the vote to adjourn? Isn't that consistent with all minutes that there is a motion to adjourn and vote to adjourn? I wasn't sure whether that was standard practice or not. But it's missing from these minutes.
Okay, Andrew? Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, through you to Member Cook. Typically, we will include that the meeting was closed at the time, and I believe that we usually indicate the motion. Now, the vote, I'll have to take a closer look of typically what we've done. Clearly, I don't pay close enough attention to that, but I'm going to look at some other minutes and see how we've done it, if that's helpful. And then I can correct these minutes for the approved minutes. So if you want to maybe let's see here. So typically what we've done is following a motion by whoever made the motion and second, the board voted to
Adjourn.
Nope, never mind. That was not the case. All we have was at the top, you should probably referencing the meeting was called to order at 6 p.m. and adjourned at a certain time. That's what we've been doing.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Ann Fullerton had her hand up. Ann, did you still have something to say?
No, I was just going to comment on the same thing that Andrew clarified.
Beautiful, thank you. All right, thank you, Brian. So may we have a second then on these minutes? To approve, is it okay?
Sure, second.
Okay, seconded. I just want to make sure of the second. All in favor of approving the minutes from the 11/1/2023 meeting, say aye. Catherine Garavaglia,
Aye.
Brian Cook,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
CC Zaglian,
I,
thank you. And Ursula Fontano, yes. Let the record show it was unanimous. We had both alternates weighing in, so it was 6-0. Okay, so moving on with our public hearings, we have 35 McGrath Highway. Madam Clerk, would you open that up for us?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to open 35 McGrath Highway. There's a typo in the agenda. PZ 23-44. The applicant is seeking zoning relief from the requirements of the high-rise district, all of which require hardship variances, front setback requirements, driveway in the frontage area, and the facade not being parallel to the front lot line.
Thank you. Hello, 35 McGrath, are you there?
Madam Chair, this is Andrew Graminsky speaking. If you are wishing to speak from the applicant team, please use the raise hand feature. I see a Thomas Miller, which I will promote you. But others, please feel free to raise your hand so I can promote you as well.
Mr. Miller?
All right, Madam Chair, I am promoting the applicant team.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Tom Miller from McDermott, Quilty and Miller on behalf of the applicant, 35 McGrath Realty Trust.
Thank you,
Uh,
welcome.
Seems like here comes the team.
Here they are, popping up. Hello, everyone.
Evening.
Welcome. So who's gonna start us off? Mr. Miller?
I guess you're
Job?
stuck. I guess you're stuck with the attorney to start it off.
All right, go right ahead, please.
Now that the team is in, I am joined tonight by Ken McClure, who's the owner's representative, and members of the project's architectural team from Stantec, BK Boley, Dave Kadish, and Kristen Weigel. As the board is aware, this project has been previously granted relief by the board on May 18th of last year. Since that time, and based on that relief granted, the applicant has been diligently pursuing the other required and necessary approvals for this type of project, so the construction can begin. While pursuing those other projects, those other approvals, unfortunately, the relief expired. And by the time we realized that we were not able to extend the relief that this board previously granted. As a brief refresher, this project proposes revitalizing an underutilized industrial site with the construction of a 9-story, approximately 130,000 square foot lab building. As noted in the staff report for this application before you tonight, approval of this application will simply reinstate the very same relief previously granted by this board for identical hardship variances as in the previous case. As with the previous relief, these variances will allow the applicant to revitalize this currently underutilized parcel with an appropriately designed building meeting the intent of the ordinance and with the minimum relief necessary in order to move forward. If the board would like, we can go through the presentation we have, which is identical to the one we presented on May 18th of last year. If that's the request, if that's the pleasure of the board.
Yes, because as far as we are concerned, there are some new board members here. It's a new case, so you don't
Just
have
want-
to be as
just wanted to make sure.
fastidious. Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Just
great.
wanted-
Thank
Just
you.
wanted to make sure.
I just, I think maybe 2 board members weren't here the last time, so
Yes.
thank you so much for that courtesy.
Nope, no problem. So I will, I'll give a little bit of an introduction, then I will turn it over to our friends at Stantec to, give you the details. As stated, we're seeking 3 variances from the Somerville zoning ordinance. Prohibition of driveways in the frontage area, minimum and maximum front yard setbacks, and the requirement that all facades be parallel to the front lot line. These variances are necessitated by the unique shape of this lot and the characteristics of it. As BK, Dave, and Kristen are going to show in a minute, this lot, it has a unique front lot line coming off of McGrath Highway at an angle, while it appears from McGrath Highway that it is parallel, it is not, due to a taking by the MDC back in the 50s. The only access for this lot is from to a public thoroughfare is from the front lot, across that front lot line. The property is bounded on two sides by private landowners and in the rear by the MBTA. So because of the unique shape and characteristics of this lot, unfortunately, we are required to seek relief based on that. I'm now going to turn it over to Dave, BK, and Kristen to go through our presentation.
Great. Thank you, Tom. Good evening, everybody, members of the board. I am Dave Kadish with Stentech Architecture, and I'll be presenting as Tom mentioned, the same presentation from May 18th. The only modification here is the note here of the resubmission of today's date. So we'll go through a quick introduction of the building, the zoning, the context of the building itself, and just a few images. This is diagrammatic as far as what you'll see on the plans and the imagery is showing the plan and design has evolved over the past year. So starting with the zoning, we are in the high-rise district right over here along McGrath Highway, bordering the tracks behind us. And we are proposing a lab building, as Tom mentioned. We are compliant with all of the requirements of the Somerville zoning, with exception to the relief that we are requesting through this meeting tonight. A couple images to help locate you on the site. We are the red dashed line here across from the shopping center, again, along the McGrath Highway, and behind us is the new walking and bike trail through Somerville. And again, just a little bit more zoomed in, current existing building is here. It is currently a white box as you would see it today with a parking lot in front. And just to the south or page right here is the new development 15 McGrath, which is currently under construction today. As Tom mentioned, this is a little bit of an awkward site. This is our frontage along McGrath Highway here is at an angle, as you can see my mouse pointing this way. So it is a little bit of an odd geometry, which is why we're asking for some relief, which we'll get to further in the presentation of how the building will interact with that front lot line. Some context images, as I mentioned, this is almost exactly a white box with parking in the front, with the McGrath Highway bridge starting to rise up in front of our site. So access will come around that in the future. And you'll see images of the back here and just some context images to the right. This image in the top right, 15 McGrath will be in this area here with our building immediately to the north. This is a survey of the existing site just to, again, show the existing front lot line of the frontage along McGrath Highway, a parking lot in the front, and then the existing building here. So as Tom mentioned, we are a little bit landlocked as far as the frontage itself, with the MBTA behind, McGrath Highway to the front, and then our neighbors immediately adjacent on either side. To orient you, McGrath Highway is on the left here, so we did rotate it. We do have 50 McGrath, we do have a vehicular access for trucks only to come along back, but there's a variant here, or sorry, thinking of the term, they're allowing our vehicles or trucks to come back on the side here and back into our loading docks here, an easement. And along the front here, this is our main entrance. One reason we're requesting a little bit further of more than the 15-foot maximum setback is to allow a pedestrian entrance at the ground level here. And the vehicles along the front frontage, the only way for cars to get into our site would be to come along here and enter down our ramp along the front of the building. The upper floor does comply with the maximum 15-foot setback. However, the minimum 2-foot setback is a request of a variance that we are asking for tonight. And as you can see here, we are showing a building shape that does not comply with the parallel to the front lot line. This gives us some flexibility in the range of design that we'll show you later in the project here. We do have 3 levels of below grade parking, all within our property line. And our building is compliant with the 9-story height maximum and height dimension of less than 155 feet. We do have 9 floors of lab space plus the double height penthouse above. Again, this is a roof plan here showing the property line currently as it stands with the frontage along McGrath Highway here. And this is the revised McGrath outline here of the new adjacent building here. And you can see just one of the reasons why we are looking for just more flexibility in this frontage here to create a stronger street wall and some flexibility in the design of our facade. and we have a little bit side by side. If we were compliant with the parallel to the street edge, we would have this wedge shape of the building. In our proposed diagram here, just showing a step to show some variation. As the design has progressed, it is kind of a combination of the two, but having that flexibility creates a much stronger presence of this building and a stronger street edge between the neighboring structures. Again, just some views here at street level, looking up at the building, how this would feel with a little bit orthogonal to the neighboring buildings and the stepping of the facade. And a bird's eye view of the same on the right-hand side. You will see the front of the building with that step, and on the left-hand side here is the rear. So this would be the walking and bike trail behind on the MBTA. And that is our presentation for this evening.
Thank you.
David, if I
What-
may just jump in for a second, Madam Chair, my name is BK Boley. I'm the design principal for the project. Unfortunately, I cannot get my camera to turn on. It was a bad hair day, but that's not the reason it's off.
It was on earlier.
For some reason, I cannot get it to work. One of the things that the design guidelines originally were intending to do was create an urban street wall all along McGrath Highway. And that was why you had a 2-foot minimum, a 15-foot maximum. One of the things that you had pointed out at the previous meeting was that this allowed us to kind of work with the spirit of that guideline by having a stepped facade if necessary, especially in the options and the flexibility that we needed going into the Urban Design Commission, where we were proposing 3 different massing options and then 3 different facade options for each of those. So we liked the fact that we had that additional flexibility when you gave us the variances to have the ground floors be stepped back, have the garage entrance where it could really only work, but then either have facades that were parallel to McGrath Highway or make this transition between the building on the right of us at 15 McGrath and then the existing buildings on the left.
Okay. I have a question. What's the distance between the 2 buildings on your side there, 15 McGrath?
So we are set back from the property line 5 feet, and I believe they are a similar distance. I can try to go back here. So it should be about 10 feet between the buildings at its tightest point.
Okay. It was just something curious because, on these demos, they look so tight, and I was just wondering, we're building all brand new, why we're doing them so tight, but thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else? No? Okay, now from the public, may I please see, if we have anybody from the public that's coming in to weigh in on this? The public portion is open.
Madam Chair, this is Andrew Kaminsky speaking. I don't see anyone in the public with their hand raised at this time.
Okay, thank you. We'll leave that out for a few minutes just in case somebody signs on. Okay, and to our staff, to the board, does anybody have any questions? I know some were here. You could take down this example. Thank you. Who was not here the last time? Brian, Cecia, Ann Fullerton, you were, yes? That's what I thought. Okay. I'm gonna have Cecia vote on this tonight as our alternate. One of our members is out, so they'll give us our 5. So I want to give you folks, everybody, the courtesy. If you have any other questions, anything inspire you tonight that you were inquisitive about, or the 2 new folks, Brian and Cecia, if you have comments, we'd love to hear them. No. Okay, good. All right. So you folks ready to vote? That's it? We're ready to go forward? Okay. I'm looking at our clerk, Catherine.
Do we need to discuss any of the elements here?
1 minute, Andrew. If there's nothing more from the board before you go on, Catherine, I'm sorry. I'm going to close the public portion. No one else has shown up, Andrew? Okay,
No,
thank you.
Madam Chair, no one has.
All right, thank you. So we're closing the public portion of the meeting and moving on to Catherine. Your question was, please?
If we need to be discussing I am so sorry, my brain just completely turned off mid-thought. The elements that we need to be just making this decision on, do we need to be discussing these?
Well, you don't so much, you have to, make your or we can discuss it, but yeah, go ahead, because I think I know what, Bowser, I bet you'd be making it on the presentation. But,
Madam
go
Chair,
ahead. Yes, Andrew.
so you need, the board needs to make the findings for each of the criteria for the hardship variance.
Okay,
The findings can be the same as they were previously given with the previous application, but because this is a hardship variance application, that you need to make findings need to be made,
articulated, yes.
articulated, correct?
Okay, good.
So are you expecting me to do all of the findings?
Yes.
Oh,
Well, they're in the
actually,
previous decision.
Right.
Brian, yeah, that's it.
I've got it up, Brian. I just was punting unsuccessfully to the rest of the group. All right.
Well, we
So-
have our 3 points for each one.
Uh-huh.
So, right? So the first, you have them in front of you, the previous presentation decision.
I do. Sounds like you do too.
All right.
So we are looking for variance for relief from the minimum front setback, the maximum front setbacks, the driveway in the frontage area. And as was discussed in the presentation, we are looking for the special circumstances that may exist for the property. This property is uniquely shaped and is triangular, and that is applicable to all 3 of the requests for hardship variance. The next requirement would be a discussion of the literal enforcement of the provisions of this ordinance would involve a substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, to the petitioner or applicant. Again, I think we're gonna focus on the shape of the lot here with the triangular building and the very narrow path to get to the public right-of-way being the area where literal enforcement would cause substantial hardship. And the last requirement for all 3 would be the discussion of is there a substantial detriment to the public good. And I think allowing the project to be constructed to follow the frontage rather than following the street would make the building look completely out of place. And it would not cause any harm and would be more desirable and cause less hardship to grant all 3 variances as requested. So I think for those reasons, I would be ready to vote.
Anybody want to add anything to the dialogue? Happy with that, Andrew? Acceptable, planner? Yeah. Okay, so would you now next, please, Catherine, make a motion? And we're
Yeah.
gonna have Cecia voting tonight.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve all 3 hardship variances for the reasons as discussed and with the requirements that are in the staff memo that was circulated, and I don't recall the date of it, Andrew.
The date of the staff memo was, I can't remember either. Here we go, October 26th, 2023.
With the conditions as stated in the staff memo, I make a motion to approve all 3 hardship variances.
Second.
Ann Fullerton, all in favor, as we go around, would you please say aye? Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
Cecia Daglian,
Aye.
Catherine Garavaglia,
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show it was unanimous, 5, all in approval of the variances. Good luck, people.
Thank you.
Get going, get going.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on now under, I believe it's general business. Let's see here, my little cheat sheets tonight. Was the schedule for next year.
Hmm.
So, yes, Catherine, you lit up.
I must have made the sound.
Okay.
Apologies.
Okay, I looked at it, I think everybody has to look at it from their own personal point of view. If any of you see something that you don't like or you think is wrong or whatever, you can't speak up. We're not voting on this tonight. They just wanted to make sure they throw it out there for us so we can maybe start, when you go buy your new calendars for 2024, you can start jotting these in. And if anybody has a problem with any of the dates, as always, something personal and you can't make the meeting, that's not a real issue. Just let us know in advance so we make sure we have staff. Is that good with everyone? Did anybody want to discuss anything about the schedule? No? Brian? Yes, Mr. Cook?
I had raised the issue that the October 2nd meeting
Second.
falls on the first night of Rosh Hashanah.
Mm-hmm.
It's less a problem for me. I would just not show up. The larger question is, does it present a problem for members of the public who may want to either may have an application in before the board,
Mm-hmm.
or want to tune in, and then it conflicts with a religious obligation on their part. And I asked Andrew to look into it. He said he has a response in terms of city policy about that.
Thank you. Mr. Graminsky?
Madam Chair, through you to Member Cook. Thank you very much. Member Cook, basically the the city's calendar has all the dates where the city's open and operating, as well as the holidays, including the holidays that the city follows. And Rosh Hashanah is not on that list. The city is generally agnostic to religious holidays other than Christmas. I won't get into that. But because that holiday, Rosh Hashanah is not a recognized holiday in terms of city not operating, it's basically not included, just like any other holiday that we would be off and not operating when we would not hold a meeting, for example. So that's the basic policy. However, you of course you don't have to attend, and that's just the case. And if we have, unfortunately, I mean, you can always, as a board, determine, well, it looks like, this might impact the ability for an applicant to attend. Maybe we can hold a special meeting. Again, that's the prerogative of the board to do something like that in that situation. But again, because this isn't on the city calendar, it is why it's on the hearing date for next year. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you.
Sure, it does. Yeah, I mean, I understand. And
Sure.
December 25th is a federal holiday as well as a state holiday. So
And that's what I was trying to say. What was I trying to say? Well, obviously, there's the religious aspect, but it's also a federal and state holiday, and I think that's really what the city follows.
I understand.
Yep. Thank you.
So if an applicant were to say, I want to come before the board, but I have a problem with that date,
Yeah,
there would be leeway given to the applicant to appear at a later date or something.
Absolutely. And
Oh,
let's
yeah.
just say we're running into the issue of the 65-day clock to get the applicant. We can always, provide them with a continuance form if that's necessary, or the board, if you may decide to have a special meeting. Obviously, that doesn't always happen, but there is avenues to take in that situation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
thank you, Andrew. Thanks for checking that out for
Of
us
course.
too. Anybody else have any comments? No? All right, then hearing none, we'll adjourn. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
May I have a second?
Second,
Second by Brian Cook. All in favor, please say aye. Brian Cook,
aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
Cecilia Daglian,
Aye.
Catherine Garavaglia,
Aye.
And Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show it was unanimous. 6 members voting in the affirmative. That's it. Good night, everybody. Enjoy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. That's right.
Thank you.
It's on my lips,
Good night, everyone.
Brian. All right, everybody.
Bye.
Take
Have a great
care.
Thanksgiving. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.